Welcome. This is video lecture series on kinetic theory of gases. As this is first lecture, so I will introduce the topic kinetic theory. After that, we will derive perfect gas equation with the help of kinetic theory. Later on in this video, we will see certain concepts like temperature, kinetic energy from kinetic theory point of view. Development of any theory needs certain input. Input in sense like assumptions, hypotheses, or feedback from some experimental observation. Similarly, kinetic theory based upon certain assumptions. And assumptions are like this. A gas consists of large number of identical molecules which are minute means very small, hard elastic sphere, and this molecule constantly moving about in all possible direction with different velocity in random fashion, which means this gas molecule is moving everywhere randomly with all possible velocity which you can think of. Okay, the second one, during the motion the molecule collide with each other and also with the wall of container, the collision being perfectly elastic. This assumption you can easily visualize. The only important thing is here collision being perfectly elastic. What it means? Being perfectly elastic means no loss of energy during collision. Suppose a molecule is moving with velocity u, then after collision the velocity of that molecule will be u. Only the change will be in the direction. So after collision only direction will change, not the energy, right? That's what it's trying to say, perfectly elastic. Third one is molecule exerts no force on one another except when collide. Between two successive collisions, they move in a straight line with uniform velocity. Okay, let's understand this assumption. This assumption says that there is no force between two molecules, right? Neither attractive nor repulsive. So two molecules are neither attracting each other nor repelling each other. They are exerting force only when they are colliding. Okay, and as there is no force of attraction or repulsion, that means molecule cannot gain energy or lose energy while moving. That's why it's saying it will move with uniform velocity. And why straight line? As there is no force, so there is no chances of bending, there is no chances of deviating from their path. So this assumption means that molecule will move in a straight line with uniform velocity between two successive collision. Okay, once it will collide it will change its direction, right? The next one is the collision are instantaneous. What it means, the time is spent at the instant of collision and the time is spent between two collision, they have a large gap. Time between two successive collision is much greater than the time of collision, right? So simply you can neglect the time of collision. Next one is volume occupied by molecule is negligible compared to container. Okay, so what it says that just take all the molecule, okay, and put it together and try to find out the volume of that content. So volume of that content is negligible compared to the volume of container. And what is the volume of container? Volume of container is same as volume of gas, right? So the volume of molecules which form that gas is negligible compared to total volume of the gas, right? These are the certain assumptions based upon which this theory is developed, and we will use all these assumptions throughout this lecture series. Let's see its application. First we will try to derive the perfect gas equation. Okay, assume we have a perfect gas in a container, okay, and mark one surface along x-axis and another surface perpendicular to this axis, and let's call this surface BAE. So what it means, the molecule which moves in a direction x will hit this wall BAE. BAE is the surface perpendicular to x-axis. So any molecule moving along x-axis will hit this surface. Let's redraw this schematic. You can think like this. These small dots are molecule and it moving along x-axis, then it will hit this perpendicular surface BAE. Now just assume velocity c of a particle. Okay, velocity is a vector quantity If you are thinking velocity in 3D, that is in x, y, z coordinate, then it will have a component along x-axis, along y-axis and along z-axis. So let's call that component u, v and w. Okay. If I'll ask you what is the magnitude of this velocity, what you will do? You will simply write something like this. Here the c is the magnitude of velocity. C square is equals to u square plus v square plus w square. These things you know from your vector analysis. Okay. Now, what is the range of u, v and w? From kinetic theory, we know that the molecule can have any velocity. Okay. So it can have any velocity from minus infinity to plus infinity. Why I am talking about the minus velocity? Because velocity is a vector quantity. When it's moving in a positive x direction, we will say it's a plus. When it's moving along negative y direction, we will say it's a minus. Therefore, u can have minus infinity to plus infinity range. Similarly, v, similarly w. If you substitute u, v and w in this equation, you will find out the range of c will be from 0 to infinity, right? Therefore, the minimum value of c will be 0 and maximum is infinity. Now, when particle moves in x direction and it collides with this wall, then what will happen? According to kinetic theory, it will not lose its energy, but it will change its direction. And when a particle moving parallel to x-axis, then it will reflect back, okay, exactly along same path. Therefore, what we will say that u is velocity component along x-axis. So u suffer change in direction on reflection from wall BAE, while v and w remain unchanged. What it means? The velocity component along y-axis and z-axis remain unchanged, right? Because it only moving in x direction. As this collision is perfectly elastic, it will rebound along same path. So it will not change its velocity component along y and z axis. Therefore, what is the change in momentum? Change in momentum per reflection, that we can write initial momentum minus final momentum. And what is initial momentum here? M into u. M is mass of the molecule. Mass into velocity is momentum. So mu minus m into minus u. After reflection, velocity changes its direction, so it becomes minus u. Therefore, total change in momentum is 2mu. Just remember this point. Change in momentum per reflection of a molecule is of a molecule, right? Remember, of a molecule is 2mu. Let's assume nu is the number of molecule per unit volume moving with velocity u, right? In kinetic theory, I said that it can have any velocity. So we will consider only those molecules whose velocity is u and their density, that is number of molecule per unit volume, is nu, right? Now if I'll ask you what is the number of molecule is striking a unit area of wall in time dt. So just consider any unit area, okay? And what is the distance a molecule traveling with velocity u can travel in a time dt? That will be u into dt. What are the number of molecule which hit this surface? This is unit area surface in time dt. Any molecule which is lies outside this range, that is this length range u dt, cannot hit, because any molecule starting from here cannot reach this surface in time dt. But any other molecule which is in this length range, right? Any molecule starting from here will hit this surface. Any molecule starting from here will hit this surface. Any molecule starting from here will hit this surface. But the molecule which start from here cannot travel a distance greater than u dt, right? U is the velocity, so maximum distance it can travel is u dt, and this distance is greater than u dt. So in other words, the molecule which hit this unit cross sectional area in time dt must be lies in this cylinder, right? Any molecule outside this cylinder cannot reach this surface. So there is no question of hitting. Once it will reach, then only it can hit, right? What is the volume of this cylinder? The volume of the cylinder is u dt into area. Area is 1. So volume of cylinder is u dt. So number of molecule in this cylinder traveling with velocity u is volume into density. It is nu into u dt. So this is the number of molecule which hit this area in time dt. Now, what is the change in momentum per unit area suffered by this molecule? All this calculation now we are doing on per unit area. Change in momentum per unit area suffered by these molecule. For single molecule, change in momentum is 2 mu. So for all these molecule, it will be 2 mu into nu u dt. Now we will consider for all molecule moving in positive x direction, right? So this is only for you. What we have to do to consider all the molecule, we have to do sum over it. We will do a summation from 0 to infinity. Why 0 to infinity? Because we are considering only positive x direction. That's why it is not minus infinity to infinity, it is from 0 to infinity. 2m, because 2m is constant, it will come outside, summation over 0 to infinity nu u square dt. What is rate of change of momentum? Rate of change of momentum is force. Therefore, we can write it delta f into dt. We can simply replace momentum by force into time. Okay, and here this force is force per unit area because this momentum is momentum per unit area. This equation becomes delta f dt is equals to 2m summation over 0 to infinity nu u square dt. This dt will cancel out. And what is force per unit area? Force per unit area is pressure. Therefore, a molecule traveling along positive x direction will exert this amount of pressure on the wall. Now, we will just introduce a quantity called mean square velocity, and this is defined by this. Now here n1 number of molecule moving with velocity u1, n2 number of molecule is moving with velocity u2 dot dot dot. So how we can define the mean square velocity? Mean square velocity is n1 u1 square plus n2 u2 square plus dot 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 divided by n1 plus n2 plus dot dot dot. So we can write in the form of summation. So summation over ni ui square. Here the summation is running from I is 1 to infinity. Similarly here the summation over I and I is running from 0 to infinity. Let's say the total number of molecule is n. Therefore summation over ni will be n upon 2. Why n upon 2? Statistically particle is moving in all direction. Particle is moving along x direction as well as along minus x direction. As we are dealing with the large number of particles, we can simply assume that half of particle is moving toward the positive x direction and half of particle moving towards negative x direction. We are only considering here the positive x direction molecule. Therefore, summation over ni become n upon 2. Half of the molecule we have to take. Now, we have just derived px equals to this. Utilize this relation and we can simply write px equals to mn u square bar. U square bar is mean square velocity along x-axis. Similarly, we can find out the expression for py and pz. Now, what is the total pressure? If I'll say the total pressure inside that container is P, then exactly P amount of pressure will be exerted on X surface, P amount of pressure will be exerted on Y surface, and P amount of pressure will be exerted on Z surface. Therefore, Px will be equals to Py equals to Pz. So we can simply write P is equals to Px equals to Py equals to Pz. And then the expression for Px is this, Py is this, Pz is this. If you look this equation, you can simply say u square bar is v square bar is equals to w square bar. Now, from here, if you use this relation u square bar is equals to v square bar equals to w square bar, then this expression will turns out to be like this. 1/3 of c square bar is equals to u square bar equals to v square bar equals to w square bar. Why? Just substitute v square bar equals to u square bar. Just substitute w square bar equals to u square bar. Then you will find out u square bar is equal to 1/3 of c square bar. Similarly for all. Now we will utilize these two relations and we can write p is equals to 1/3 mn c square bar. Right? And what is c square bar? C square bar is mean square velocity. Okay. Now it is not along the x-axis or y-axis, it is total velocity, mean square velocity. Now we will introduce another quantity which we call root mean square velocity, RMS velocity. So we define RMS velocity c like this, root over c square bar. Therefore P is equals to rho c square. Rho is density of the gas, m into n. M is the mass, n is the total number of molecule per unit volume. Mn is density. Therefore pressure is equals to 1/3 density into RMS velocity square. This is the most important derivation from kinetic theory of gases. It directly relates the pressure with RMS velocity and density with using the assumption of kinetic theory. Okay. One thing you may wonder, in starting I said that molecule will collide with the wall as well as with the particles, right, among themselves. But here in this derivation I have neglected collision amongst the molecule. It will introduce error. You are thinking right, but this error can be nullified itself. How? See, a particle moving in positive x direction after the collision among themselves, it will reflect back toward the negative x direction. So we will lose that particle. But simultaneously, other particle which is moving along negative x direction, it will reflect back after collision among themselves and it will turn toward the positive x direction. So due to collision among themselves, statistically we are losing equal amount of molecule which we are gaining. So overall, effectively we are not losing any particle. This mutual collision is kind of correcting this error. Now we will try to derive some important relation. First is RMS velocity. We have just derived pressure equals to 1/3 rho c square. From here we can write RMS velocity c is equal to root over 3p upon rho. And what is rho? Rho is density. We can define density like molecular weight divided by volume of the gas. We know for 1 mole of ideal gas we can write PV equals to RT. Just substitute this and we will get C equals to 3RT upon M. So if you know the gas temperature and molecular weight, then you can simply find out the RMS velocity of that gas. And this expression is very important. Here you can mark that C square is proportional to temperature. So larger the temperature, larger will be the RMS velocity. Okay. Let's see the relation between pressure and kinetic energy. We know P equals to 1/3 rho c square. Therefore, we can write P equals to 2/3 into 1 upon 2 rho c square. What is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is half mass into velocity square. So C is RMS velocity, rho is mass per unit volume. Therefore, this term half rho c square is nothing but mean kinetic energy per unit volume. Okay, so we denote it by EM. This is mean kinetic energy because this velocity is mean. We are not talking about the individual particle. Therefore, pressure is equals to 2/3 of mean kinetic energy per unit volume. And sometimes this equation called the fundamental equation of kinetic theory. See how easily you can relate the pressure of a gas with its kinetic energy. If you know the amount of pressure exerting by this gas, then you can easily calculate the kinetic energy of that gas. Concept of temperature. We have just derived C equals to root over 3 RT upon M and C square is proportional to T. And we have also seen that mean kinetic energy is half rho C square. So mean kinetic energy is proportional to C square. From this expression you can easily see you can correlate kinetic energy, mean kinetic energy per unit volume with temperature. Okay. So what this expression says that mean kinetic energy per unit volume is proportional to temperature. And if you try to formulate it, just utilize this expression half mc square equals to 3 upon 2 RT. And if you divide both sides by Avogadro number Na, then this molecular weight divided by Avogadro number, then it will become small m, mass of the molecule. Half mc square equals to 3 upon 2 kT. Therefore, we can say from this expression mean kinetic energy of translation per molecule, okay, is 3 upon 2 kT. Okay. If you know the kinetic energy, then you can directly relate the kinetic energy with the temperature. And sometime you will find out in your higher studies, temperature is defined in terms of energy. You will find out that temperature is 1 ev, and you will wonder why the unit of temperature is ev, electron volt, which is the unit of energy. That concept came from this kinetic theory. In kinetic theory, you know this temperature is directly related to kinetic energy of the gas. Okay, hope all these things are clear to you now, and in next lecture we will try to derive the Maxwell distributions law. See you. Thank you.